start where we left. So let me see if I am there. Hello, all. Yep, I'm live. I'm live. But okay, so let's get started. Let me share my screen. Okay, so this is where we were yesterday. So we were doing this, and we are just in the destructuring thing. Okay, so suck. Okay, so good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, all. So what we are going to do here? So we are going to learn about the concept of state now. The concept of state, which is a very, very, very important concept to learn. The concept of state. So that is what we are going to learn now. Okay. So the is the most important concept in React. So here what will happen, let me create a new file now. Okay, so this file will be known as counter.js, and the so again, this kind of class is always is only there in a class-based component. In functional components, we have classes with the help of like there is a hook known as use state hook. With the help of that, we have okay. So that is there, and then I will go here, and I will again use a shortcut. Okay, so I will do R const, and this will give me this super props, and this dot state it will give me, and this dot state I'll do, and I think I was just starting it yesterday. Count of zero. Okay. So count of zero. So constructor. So we all know that classes have this constructor thing. Constructor thing. Okay. So in this, I am having this super props. Okay. So this super props is there. Super props is actually required in a class-based component because we're able to access the props. Although constructors are not required, you can go without a constructor also, but a state is generally given inside the constructor with the this dot state. Okay, again the this keyword is there. This keyword is very complicated thing, and the state is generally a object. State is an object. Okay, state is an object. Uh, how day will be planned or study? I'm not understanding how day will you plan your studies. What does that mean? Okay, so this is a 5 day, 4 day course. Like this, today is day two. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday will be there. Okay, so this is the state count of zero. I have taken count of zero. So this dot state is a keyword. This dot state is a keyword, and it's an object. Object is having a count of zero. Object is having a count of zero. Okay, so this dot state is there. So why I have taken this dot state? Why I cannot take something like var state? Because those who knows classes, a little bit of class knowledge is required in React, a bit only. Because even if I take a var state, so what will happen? This var is a functional scope. So this var scope will end from here to here. It will not be used here. And one of the thing which I want to do is to use the state here. Okay, use the state here. So I will come here and do this like um, h1 is count this dot state dot count. This dot state dot count is this is state dot count. I will save it. Okay, this is state dot count. I have saved it. Okay, so that- so if I use this dot state dot count, the problem here is that uh I can access it. But if I use a var state, I cannot access it. So this have a special thing. Like this is accessible at various part in the class. It can be accessed there also there. At various part it can be accessed. Okay, various parts it can be accessed. So like we have to do this dot state and save it. This dot state and save it. And now we can use it. Okay, so let me also show it. Like I will remove the old code actually. Counter, I will show the counter and save it, and it will show. You'll see this count zero is there. Count zero is there, and now it is okay. Now it is okay. So what we are going to have here? We are going to have like now I want to update the state. So how do I update the state? So to update the state, I'll have a button, and this button will be written in increment will be written, and here, so let me have this button. So I want something to be like that. If I click here, this should increase, and actually this is very difficult to do in DOM programming. So I'll do how to do it in React programming. So we'll have a on click here, on click equal to this dot increment this dot increment count, and then we'll have, I will save it, okay, because and this increment count will be what? This increment count will be function. So on click is again a thing which is there in React. On click is still a thing which is there in uh, like HTML thing. But in React, we have a C is a capital. C is capitals. Okay, increment count will be there, and then I will update it with something known as this dot set state. This dot set state. This dot set state is there, and then count is this dot state dot count plus one. This dot state dot count plus one. Count is this dot state dot count plus one. Okay, this is state dot count plus one. So why I'm using this dot set state, we'll soon come back to that. But the thing is that state can be updated only with the function this dot set state. Why it is like that, I will tell soon. Okay, and why I'm updating it like this, because count is a key for a value. So it's a key value here. So key I'm updating with this are state dot count. So I think it will work, but I will tell why this is state I'm using. But now I will go and inspect, because here there is a error is there. Okay, the error is there. So I go to the console and then I'll click it. See, I got some error here. Like cannot read property of undefined reading set state. Cannot read property of undefined reading set state is there. Okay, so that is there. Now I got this issue because of something. Okay, because of something, and that something is the problem with the this keyword. The problem with the this keyword, and there are actually four ways to solve it. Four ways to solve it, and first two ways are used a bit less, but the last two ways will be used the most. Okay, so we are going to see, and we are going to also find like why we are having this issue. So to see this issue, what I will do, CLG this. Only this I'm doing. Okay, only this I'm doing. And if I run again, if I do it and increment, see this error is there, but this is undefined. So this at any point of the time, it should always be the class. It should always be the class. Okay, this at any point of time, it should be the class. Okay, so right now what is happening, it is not there. And if you go too deep in deep, it will in this it will take 1 year, more than 1 year, because there is a thick book on this also. So the thing is that React, you should know that much only which is required. Okay, JavaScript, and this is a JavaScript error, not a React error. Okay, although this can be accessed at a lot of places, but it cannot be accessed at all the places, and that is one of the another reasons for JavaScript is moving away from the this keyword and the classes in all together. Okay, so as I've told, there are two three ways to solve this issue, and one of the way is like instead of this increment count, what I'm going to have here, increment count dot bind this, increment count dot bind this, I'll do. Okay, save it, and I'll cut it, and then I will increase it, and see the counter is been told. Counter has been shown. Okay, so this is there. Okay, one way, method number one. So method number two is, I'm going to say the method number two, and this dot increment count, I will put it like this also, and I will bind the this keyword here. Okay, this dot increment count equal to this dot increment count dot bind this. Okay, this bind is actually a JavaScript function, and if you do a Google search of bind JavaScript, you'll see that it is the main use of bind is like an object can borrow a method from another object, and all this is preserving. This is one of the major thing of bind. Okay, so this is the method number two I'm using. In this, I will comment out this thing. Okay, and then I will save it. So in the constructor only I'm binding the this. Okay. So now I'll click it, and it is working fine. See, this is also working fine, and this is also working fine. This is showing me the counter. But these two methods are very, very old method. We generally use method number 3 and method number 4, which are something to do with the arrow function. Something to do with the arrow function. One sec. Something to do with the arrow function. So here, what will happen in the first thing? I'll come here and do a this. So arrow function was released in 2015 in ES6. One of the major reason of releasing the arrow function is not the way it looks. The thing is that this keyword is binded very well in arrow function. This is one of the way in which I'm calling it through a arrow function. I'll save it, and then I will increase it, and it will be shown like that. Okay, it will be shown like that. Okay, so this kind of calling the arrow function, there is a benefit of it. We are soon going to see one benefit of using the arrow function in this way. Okay, but the most important way which we use is like in a class-based component is to have this function be a arrow function. That's why I love arrow function. Arrow function, you don't even have to think about the this keyword. Okay, so I will save it, and then I'll cut it and refresh it, and I'll increase it. So it is increasing fine. It is increasing fine. So that is it is increasing fine. Okay, so that is there. Now, okay, so now the this is done. Now we have come back here. We come back here, and now we will see one thing here. So why did I use this this dot set state? Why cannot I use something like, okay, I'll comment this out. Why cannot I use something like this dot state dot count equal to this dot state dot count plus one. This dot state dot count is this dot state dot count plus one, and I don't want to see this keyword. I want to see this thing. I'll save it, and now I will increase it. See, 1 2 3 4 5. It is increasing fine. It is increasing fine here, but the problem is that this is not increasing. This is not increasing. State is increasing. State is increasing perfectly. State is increasing perfectly, but actually it is not updating on the DOM. Why it is happening like this? This happens because what is there? This happens because this dot set state comes with a special feature. Like it runs the render function again. It runs the render function again. It reruns the render function, and that is the use of render function. So if it doesn't reruns the render function, this dot state dot count, we cannot see what is there in the this dot state dot count. Okay, we cannot see what is there in the this dot state dot count. That's why this is the benefit of it. It reruns the render function. It reruns the render function. That's why we cannot update the state like this. Okay, cannot update the state like this, and I will comment it out, and I will comment it, save it, and then I will it, and again it is increasing fine. So now there is one more special case here. I will have a function button, and increment 5 will be there, and then it will be like on click equal to this dot increment 5. This dot increment 5. This dot increment 5 is there, and then good evening increment 5. I'll create a function increment 5, and I'll make it an arrow function because I don't want to do the same mistake again. Increment 5, and what I'm going to do here, this dot increment count, and like this I'll do. And increment count is working fine, but if I increase this, see, this is 1. This is also increasing it 1. Why? It should increment it 5 times. So these things happens because there is a problem with, not a problem, it's a feature of Java React. The feature of React, this is a feature of React. So what is the feature of React? React was created to be very efficient. See, it is used in Facebook, which is the biggest web app on the planet. So it was used in Facebook. So what happens here? It was used in Facebook. So there's a feature in React. If it sees that the this dot set state is run a lot of time, and because of that a render is happening. Actually, render happening too many times is a bad thing because it slows down the system. Although that system have to be very huge system, small system it doesn't affect, but generally React is using big systems. So it will affect here. So it will affect here. So React, what it does, it sees that okay, this dot set state is getting updated at a very fast rate. Okay, like continuously. So it will optimize it and it will update it once only. So, but we know that this is not right. We know that the this dot state should be updated 5 times. So in this case, what React does, okay, don't use the state, use the previous state. And this is a very important concept. When we see some issue like this, then only you use the previous state. So how do we use the previous state? We'll use the prev state like this. I will do, and then prev state is generally done like this. And in here, what will happen? Count will be prev state dot count plus 1. Prev state dot count plus 1. I'll save it. Now this is increasing fine, and this is also increasing fine. 5 times. So this is how the state is. This is all of the state is there. So that is done. Now we are going to learn the next concept, which is known as method as props. So what is method as props? Very important concept in React. Method and props means, suppose okay, I deleted that code, but we know that if you want to pass some data from the parent, okay, if you want to pass some data from the parent to the parent to the child, you pass it through process. But what if I want to pass the data in the opposite direction? This is very easy in Angular. Angular have got two-way binding and all those things. React is a small library, it doesn't have these features. So how do we do here? How do we do here? So to do here, we'll see example first. So I will come here and do a parent component .js and child component .js, parent component .js, and child component .js. Okay, so these two I have. So let me go to the app.js, and here I will I okay, both this will be a function class based component. Okay, RCE, because we're going to have the state concept, but this will be a functional component because we're not going to have the concept of the state right now, and we don't know how to do state in a functional component. Okay, so maybe this will have a button, and this will call treat parent, great parent. Okay, so in this parent component, what I'm going to have, I am going to have a first thing is that I'm going to show the parent. Okay, so parent component.js is there, save it. Okay, so parent is been shown. Okay, it is okay. So now I will have a R const, and this will be like parent name is in hood. And then this is a state known as Robinhood Senior. Then I will have a greet parent. A function is a greet parent. I will make it a arrow function. Now the thing is that there will be alert, hello, dollar this dot state dot parent name. This is the state of parent name is there. Then return will have a, so we are not going to call this parent directly from here. I'll call the child component here. Child component will be called here. And see, this button is being shown. So I want somehow, if I click here, it should be showing this thing. But why I'm doing this thing? I'm doing this thing because no, not just HTML and CSS. Without JavaScript, this video is like over your head. This is like ReactJS is a JavaScript library. Not only JavaScript, you have to know ES6, and HTML CSS is a must. React just is a combination of all the things, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay, it's a JavaScript library, but everything is required to create a web app. You cannot even see it without JavaScript. Like half of the concept I'm using Java, HTML, half of the concept I'm using JavaScript, and CSS I'm going to use. Okay, so this is how real world web apps are made. Facebook is created like this. All the most number of jobs out there are in this only. Okay, but that is there. So child component, okay, child component is there, and this child component is like it's having this button. Okay, it is having this button. So I want to pass the data in the opposite direction. That's why I have created it. So what I'm going to do here in the parent component, I will go, and this parent component, I will pass a prop. I'll pass a prop, but this prop will be like a function. So read and learn, right, equal to this dot greet parent. This greet handle is a props name, and I'm calling this function here. So I will go to the child component now, child component, and here I will get a props. I'll get a props, and then in the button I will get a on click equal to props dot greet handler. Props are greet handler, greet handler. Okay, so this greet handler is there. Props are greet handler. I'm calling this, save it. Now see what will happen the moment. So even you know the backend part, like React is JavaScript, you know the backend part, it doesn't matter now. So backend part, you know the Java, maybe you know Java, most probably you know Java. If you know JavaScript in the backend, if you know Node.js in the backend, then I can say you can do a bit of React, but without JavaScript knowledge, like it will not go over your head. Because if you have programming knowledge, it will not go over your head. But React is everything. Like HTML also you should have to understand what is a button tag I'm doing. Because at the end of the day, React is a front-end library. At the end of the day, we are doing this thing. So without HTML also you cannot do it. Okay. HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. But if you know programming, JavaScript will be very easy because JavaScript is 100 times easier than Java or other languages, .NET and all those things. So that is there. So enough of talk. So most people know. Okay, so the greet parent is there. So props dot greet handler is there. Okay, props dot greet handler is there. So what is happening here? When I'm click here, when I will click here, this props dot greet handler will call. So on click props dot greet handler will call, and greet handler call this thing. So means there is a pipeline being established in the opposite direction. So if I click here, hello Robin, senior, but the pipeline is been established. But if you see in the first class, what was shown there in the first class passing some data. I'm still not passing some data. So how do I pass some data? So to pass some data, what I have to do? I have to, if you, where is my counter? In my counter, I have another way to pass the data, which was, I think this one, arrow function. This, there's a benefit to pass data in this way. Okay, there is a benefit to pass data in this way. That is that you can pass some data, like you can pass some data here. So what I am going to do here right now, here I'll change it like this. And then props.greet handler, right? So he sing. So he sing. Okay. And I want just like I'm passing a string, just like we are passing in the props. So I'll now go here and here I'll do the child from dollar child. From dollar child. I'll do and save it. Now click here. If I click here, see what will happen. Hello, Robin Hood Senior from Sodhi Singh. From Sodhi Singh is coming like this. Okay. 1 sec. Yeah, you can omit the class-based component, stick to functional component if you're working in a startup. Okay, if you're working in a startup and they have now like a very new project, because this in the functional component, the hooks came in like 2020 mid. So what happens in big projects? The thing is that I know all the influencers in YouTube show half the picture because they show half the picture. I'm a corporate trainer. I do train. So if the class-based component will not be required, I will not be asked to do the class-based component in all those big companies. Especially the service companies, they work on projects like 10 years old. Even if it is not a service companies, you'll have classes somewhere. And the thing is that when your projects have 1 lakh lines of code, nobody is going to touch that code which is working. If you're in a IT company, you know that thing what I mean. Nobody is going to touch the old code, okay, which is in class. Then you have to need class. But I know in YouTube right now, you'll not find any class-based component thing. Okay, you'll not find any. So, moral of the story, you cannot, because you are not sure that you're going to work in a project which is like even Ola Uber code you're going to work, because everything is React. It is not like it was not created in 2021. If you're going to work in the FANG companies also, you're going to work in Ola Uber also, you're going to 100% face class-based component. This is something which nobody tells, no influencer tells. You see in YouTube, all the big projects will be made in functional component, but that is a myth. You have to know class based. I know today you are going to start a project. Today, even Ola Uber are going to start a project. They will not use class based component. Okay, they will not use class based component. Difference between library and frameworks. There is just library. React is a library and Angular is a framework. See, React, what happens? React is a very small library. And this is the last question I'm answering because we have to complete this thing. This is not a theoretical class, okay? Or else people say this is a theoretical class. So, library and framework is that React is a very small library. React, you see, it hardly takes 7 days to teach. Angular takes 1 month to teach. I teach Angular also. It takes 1 month to teach. Why it takes 1 month to teach? There is something for everything, and actually, there is three things for everything. So right now, what we are doing a trick to pass data in the opposite direction. Angular have something known as two-way binding for this thing. So Angular has everything inbuilt. Even React, you do API calls, you have to do add some third-party library. You do routing, you have to add a third-party library. You do Redux, you have to do a third. I'm not telling much about Express. Express is a Node.js framework. Okay, Express is a Node.js framework, and it is used for backend. Express and Node.js are used in the same breath. Okay, used in the same breath, Express and Node.js. So that is something is there. So it's a Node.js framework. Okay. So enough of talk Express and Node.js. Okay, Express is like there is a very famous stack known as mun stack, and there is a very famous stack known as mean stack. MongoDB Express React Node.js, MongoDB Express Angular Node.js. So there MongoDB Express and Node are like actually Node. Nobody uses pure Node code. Everybody uses something known as Express.js on top of Node.js, because Node.js pure code is very difficult. I have tutorials on that also, but they're very difficult. So nobody does that, and people create API calls with Express only. So that is there. So this we have done. So I will not talk much, because or else you'll not be able to complete the course. Okay, so this is how we pass the data in the opposite direction, and we have seen this thing. Okay, now what we are going to do, we are going to do a list rendering. So but we are going to see a real scenario of list rendering. uh so when Node.js is coming into picture, so let me show one thing. So JSON placeholder, this JSON placeholder is very, 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 very popular API endpoint, because this is how the data works. This is how the internet works actually. Like you have API endpoint and you get the data. This actually data is getting from MongoDB. Any other database can be there, but I know this is MongoDB and Node.js Express, because I have an API. I have a tool which says that okay, so this is the like Express and Node.js and all those things are there. So we are going to learn how to do API calls also, but soon. But right now I don't know how to do API calls. And React, what happens, as I told, everything will come in the API. There is a like even the Amazon works on API. Like there's a fake API store is there. The fake API store is there. Okay. So okay, it is not working. So Amazon is something like this fake API store. I have like if I go to this products, if I go to this, okay, why it is showing like this? So I will get the data in Amazon also like this. In the homepage, I'll get all the data like images and all those things. I'll get it like this. Okay. So is there that is there. So now, as I told, we don't know how to do API call. API call we'll do in the next class, which is on Thursday, because Wednesday we don't have a class. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new component known as um, test user dot guess RFC list user, um, or not list user. Maybe I'll have a list user, because there is a this one I'll go users. There is a users endpoint also. It is also quite similar. So list user is there, and save it. Now I want we what we're learning here. We're learning how to get a data from an array of object. Array of object is the most common way of data to transfer. Okay, so I will take this thing and put result as const users equal to like this, and maybe I'll remove some of these things because it is very complicated. Maybe I'll remove some of this thing. Okay. We have removed some of these things here, like this. I'll remove some of these things and it's like this. So the main thing is that how to look through an array of objects. So in React, we use something known as maps a lot. Maps we use a lot. So through maps, we are going to iterate through it. Okay. So first thing is that how to show it. So in React, if you have a one statement only, I can do it like this. And users dot map, and I can name it a user like this. And then maybe I will use a H1, and map is again a ES6 concept. You have to know ES6 to do React, as I always say. Dot user dot name, and save it, and I'll come here and do a list user, list user. cut it, save it, and see it is showing all these three things. So a map is a very useful way. Map is a very useful way to do that. So so we specializes in teaching people React. Okay, so we have a boot camp also starting. You can join the boot camp or else learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript. We do that in our order: HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React. So that is the way to learn. You cannot skip any of the thing while learning React. You cannot skip JavaScript. You cannot skip HTML. You cannot skip CSS. Okay, React have the most number of job on the planet right now, and it will be there till the next 5 years, 5 to 10 years. I used to tell 10 years, but I cannot say after 5 years what will happen. But till 5 years, React is there. Okay, so React will have the most number of jobs. That is for sure. Everything is made in React only. Okay, because I have students who are switching from other fields in IT to React because they see that React most of the job are there. Okay, so one thing is that it is giving me some error. Each child in the list should have a unique key prop. Although I'm getting everything, but it is giving me this. Each child in the key should have a unique key prop. Unique key prop. Okay, unique key prop is there, and we are getting this error. Okay, we are getting this error, and we're getting this error because React for performance optimization, it needs the ID of every unique thing. So H1 is showing like three times, like this thing. H1 is showing like three times, but it needs some ID, or else every time you're seeing the H1 only, it needs to know it's the unique thing. So fortunately from backend we will always get the ID. It's the like the backend engineer will always give you the ID because it comes from the database also. So I will go here and do a key equal to user.id, equal to user.id. Save it. Now if I it and if I refresh it, see if I refresh it, see it is not getting, we are not getting the error anymore. So that is like this is how it is working. Okay, so the thing is that I want to show all these things, not just this thing. I want to show one this thing. And most of the time in React, what we do, we take this in a different component. So I'll show how we do that thing. Okay, so I'll create a new thing like user user.js. Maybe I'll do user.js rafce user. Okay, so rfce I have done. Now I will, in this component, I will actually first let me pass the data from here. So in the list user, I will go and a list user, and here I will actually I will call this user. User I will call and imported also. Key I have to pass, and I will pass the whole user here. User equal to user. I'm passing the whole user here. Means each object I'm passing, like each object I'm passing. So right now it is showing user. Each object I'm passing. Now I will go here, and here I will do it as user and restructuring it as again a ES6 concept. So div I will go here h1. Okay, h1 I will show the name is user dot name h3. What is the other thing is user name, uh, user dot username, and maybe h4. Email is user dot email, user dot email. Save it and it will show like this. It will show nicely like this. And this is the way in which we generally do in React. Pass the whole thing in a different component. This is how we do it. Okay. So that is done. Now we will see. Okay, one sec. Mm, sorry. Before showing the last thing, last thing already, I should give the attendance song. I forgot to give the attendance song. I forgot to actually create it also. One sec. Copy. This last topic will take hardly 5 minutes. Before that, let me take the attendance. Redundance is shared. Please fill it. Okay, so let us continue to the third topic. Okay, now the today's last topic is the styling. How to style React. So the most common way to style React is like this. See, this app.js is there. I have app.css is like a normal thing. Like I'll import it and show it like a normal CSS. And we're going to first use this way, and we're going to use the styling in user.js. Okay, so first way user.js is there. I'll come here and do a user.css, and then the thing is that I will have a dot container I will have, and background color is light blue, padding is 10 pixel, margin bottom is 5 pixel. Okay, save it. Now I will show go to this user, and in this user I will have a div of class name equal to container. As we know that class name is used instead of class. So this container I have used it here, but how do we add it? Like app.js, I have to add it like this. Okay, so import user.css, save it, and see, this is how the styles are been added nicely. So this is how it is there. This is the one way. There are the inline statement. There are two more way within the inline statement. We are going to see the inline way. Okay. So inline way here. Suppose I have something here like const h1 style equal to background ground color is yellow, comma padding is yes. I'll save it. I'll save it. No need to say it. Done. It's done. So I have given something. I'll come back to this soon. And there is a style component. There is a style component in HTML, not in React. And in here, I'll show this uh, H1 style. I'll show this. I'll save it. Okay. And it is been done. Okay. This is how it is done. Okay. Background and padding. So this is inline styling. Inline styling is generally done when you are in a hurry. Then you do the inline styling. But there is one thing which I want to tell you. This is the inline styling. We give an object, and objects are different than the how we do CSS. CSS is like this. This is like a colon and then a semicolon are there. Okay, so colon is there here also. But see, background color, I have a camel case here. Here I have a dash. And the other thing is that always the right hand side should be string. If it is a string, it should be string. And there is a comma here because it's an object. Yeah, this is one way. But generally, we don't give the inline styling in this way. Why? Because inline styling we generally give when we are hurry. So how we give it? Inline styling we will directly give. Okay, so like this, I'll copy it, and maybe in the H3 I'll come and do the style equal to like this. Okay, so I'll copy this. Okay, so what it is, instead of creating a variable outlet, I'll do it here like this. Background color, I will make it as pink, and padding as 5px. Save it. See, showing so nice. Okay, this is like that. But generally, the inline styling you give, try to give not more than two, and try to give it in one like this. Okay, this is inline styling. This is how it is done. Okay, so this is how it is done, and done a lot today. And but some important things are remaining, like control component and life cycle methods and all. That will do on Thursday. And thank you all for attending. And hooks is very small. We are going to do only one day. Hooks we are going to do only one day, and on Monday we are going to do it. And okay, so no, the data is not coming from backend. Okay, so data is got the data is not coming from backend. As I told you, we have not yet learned how to do the data from backend. That we'll learn in the next class. Data is just coming. I just hard coded it. Yeah, hard coded it. Yeah, data is coming from here. Okay, so that is there. Nice question.